Hey, my favorite aunties. This is Renee from Charleston, South Carolina. What's brewing today?
Coronavirus. Wash your hands and your legs.
Ask your aunties. STI Responsibility.
And Bernie versus Biden. So get your cups ready for MinoriTea Report.
Hey, y'all.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey.
Happy Monday.
I'm doing
Happy
well.
Monday. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. And I guess happy Monday, happy Tuesday, whatever day you listen to it. Monday,
Bad.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sorry.
Where is
singing
that
it
from?
off the gate.
You know what?
You don't know that song?
You don't know? Okay.
What?
Remember
Girl.
what we played when we said, don't revoke my black card?
Well,
Right.
First of all, my question is, how old is the song?
Oh, it's from the 80s.
Girl,
Okay,
that don't
see,
make no
no.
difference. You got
No.
old people in your house.
Mm-mm.
You have mama, a sister, a cousin, an auntie, a grandmama, and they
Remember,
play music.
my mama just turned 50. So
Uh-huh.
remember, my parents are really young. So I didn't get to hear
girl,
all
the days of the week song?
oldies.
Oh, man. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis made that song. It's by
Okay.
Sherelle.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a cute one.
Sherelle and
it's a vibe.
Alexander O'Neill.
Girl,
Okay.
Sunday, Monday.
That's
we
when
go.
music was
I know
really
who Jimmy
good.
Jam
That's
is.
when, like-
I know who Jimmy Jam is. Like, I just didn't.
That's when you was
that
like,
song.
back in the day, you would have like your little Jerry curl. If you was a woman, you have your little Jerry curl with your hair in like a side ponytail with a big old scrunchie, and then you'd be wearing your taffeta dress, going out with your gloves and be dancing with your little pumps. Yes,
Right? Come on now. That's what they say.
ahead, set the
Sunday
scene.
and Monday and Tuesday's too soon. Or something like that. Wednesday and Thursday just won't do.
Oh, I know that
Friday
song.
is-
Okay.
Okay,
Come on now.
Okay, no, because that's not how you were singing it at first, girl.
Well, that's the bridge. That's the bridge. But it's like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
See, that
Thursday,
point
Friday,
I didn't remember.
Saturday.
But the other part that you were singing,
Uh-huh.
I remember that
Oh, you
part
know
of
the
the
bridge
song.
part? Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know the chorus.
No.
yeah, because the song is called Saturday Love, right? Saturday
Yeah.
Love. That's what it is.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I've heard of the song before because at first I was
Okay,
like,
now.
"What were you singing, girl?" I was like,
She said,
okay.
she
But
said, I know that song, but that song
Right.
that you were singing,
That song
I
you
don't
sang,
know her.
I don't know her.
That's
I feel like they
funny.
just sang that on some award show. Was it the BET Awards last year that they came out and did it?
Oh, that-
It was
I
the
don't remember.
Soul Train Awards, where they did a tribute to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and that's one of the songs that they wrote. One of the first songs that they wrote after The Time, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they left The Time and started producing and all that, and before like all the Janet fame and stuff. But anyway, that's a side note. Good morning,
That was
community.
a good ass song. For y'all out there, if you haven't heard of that song, treat yourself. Pull out your
After this podcast, listen to that song. That's
Yes,
a jam
it's
right
a-
there.
it's a
That's a
cute
forever
one.
bop.
yes. It'll put you in the mood for
Sure.
something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A forever bop.
Don't hate on that song. Come on.
I'm not hating on a song, but some things just needs to go in the vault.
No,
There's a
not
time and
that
a
not
one.
that
place for
one.
everything.
Not
I'm
that
gonna wait.
one.
I'm gonna wait for the
No.
barbecue. I'm gonna wait for the family get together.
That's That's part of the
And
barbecue
then-
playlist.
That's
And then
part of the
yeah.
barbecue. That's right up there with like
Mhm.
summertime.
That's up there with summertime. That's up
Yeah.
there with Frankie Beverly in the
That's
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
definitely a summer barbecue bop.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
It's
ain't
not like- it's not
inclined
like
to
a-
listen to it after this podcast, I understand unless you're at the barbecue.
Right. Did y'all see that meme? I don't know if this was a meme or if this was a read, but
Probably a little both.
a little
Two
bit
for
of
one.
both. But it was some black guy like sipping on like a cup of something, sitting on a lawn chair, and he said, "Where are all them white people y'all invited to the barbecue?" Wait, how did it go? I messed that up. Now I'm trying to
Take
remember
two.
exactly what it said. Damn
Girl, we're gonna need you to get your meme together.
I
Come
know.
on now,
Well,
girl.
her memory's bad. So,
Yeah.
but and you know how last week we were just talking about like how do you see things in your head? Like, do you see words or pictures or colors or whatever? So in my head, I still have this.
You're trying
imprint.
to visualize it.
I'm trying to figure out exactly what I said, but basically it was saying something to the effect of something happened against Black people, and it said, "Yeah, I don't see all these people you invited to the barbecue commenting on this or share. Oh, it's Black History Month. We're all them white people y'all invited to the barbecue." That's what it said.
That's true. We need them, especially
They'll be sharing nothing. We be passing out that card, and they'll be sharing nothing. Like, oh, you can dance. Oh, you invited to the barbecue. No, but then when it comes to real stuff,
I always think that like other stuff like I'll share on like Facebook, like it shows that people really do be seeing stuff on your feed, because there'll be people that be commenting out the blue on like nice stuff that I'm like, oh, you do see the shit I post like every day, but when it's like something real, it's like crickets.
Right.
Hold up now. Hold up. Like, how am I getting 200 likes on like, I don't know, something like useless? But I talk about the struggles of the Black community or the struggles of the gay community, and I get like 4 likes.
Right.
And I'm like, Houseway, come on now.
I'm over here mad that I stepped away to get some jelly beans and I didn't pick up one yellow jelly bean. I got all these nasty flavors. The black ones, purple
I like
ones,
the black one.
the white ones.
You've said that before, that you like that licorice flavor though.
Yeah, but I don't like licorice, if we call that one. I don't like the black licorice. I think it's a texture thing, but I like the flavor of it.
Do you like the flavor of black licorice though? Like the licorice flavor. So do you like that? What's that? Your husband
Trash.
called it. No.
Jaeger?
No, girl. We're talking about sophisticated stuff, not Hennessy, girl. No, arak. Isn't that what your husband calls it? Arak. Arak. Yeah. Or anise. That's what. That's the more Mediterranean version of it. But it's basically a licorice flavored liqueur. It is so delicious.
Yes,
so good.
I like the black licorice, the flavoring.
I like that it turns cloudy when it's chilled, and then it becomes clear when it's warm. So
A
little
good.
science experiment. Jerrell's looking like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, for real, community. If y'all can see my face, I'm over here eating my M&Ms like, no, ma'am. It's a no for me, Paula.
See, we're talking about all this stuff that we're relating on, and she's just like, I'm not part of that club.
Like,
I have not been born on that planet. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's a no for me.
Are those plain M&Ms?
Yeah, I prefer peanut M&Ms, but I have like this little game day mix of trail mix. So I picked out all the raisins and the almonds.
And now you're down to the
I just
the
got
M&Ms.
peanuts and regular plain M&Ms. But I mean, I eat two of them together, and I got peanut M&Ms. So.
There you go.
Okay.
I know at work they have like these little packages of M&Ms, which they need to get rid of because I just sit there and eat them all day. But I find that it helps me think.
Really?
Snacking on them. Like, I'm like, okay, let's snack on these M&Ms. Okay, that's what I need to do. Like, but it's not good. It's not good for the waistline. Even though I am down 7 pounds right now, by the way.
Yes, sis.
All right, come on now.
Remember you guys were saying I was drinking too big for my resolutions? Look. I'm down 7 pounds. I'm on book. I'm almost done with my 3rd book. I'll be done tomorrow on that one.
Okay, Terry McMillan.
I already got my 4th book in queue. I'm hitting these goals, girl. Come on now.
So
I'm happy for you because I have.
Are you in there doing Kegels while you taking that 45-minute drive to and from work?
Right. I should keep this body tight.
I can't even.
Giving him something he can feel. To let him know my love is real. My love is real.
I know that's right. Come on, Invo's version.
I'm happy for you though. You better work, sis. I'm here for it.
I'm trying to slim down, slenderize a little bit.
See, I'm fighting the scale at this point. Like,
yeah, I know the feeling though.
I'm working out. I'm dieting. I'm doing everything correctly, but I'm gaining the muscle mass, and so my scale is starting to go back up because muscle weighs more than fat, and so like. I have to like remind myself and be like, girl, calm down. Yes, it says 195, but it's like a different
Exactly. It's a
195
different
than what it
195.
was before.
Exactly.
But I
Exactly.
I get PTSD. I see 200 and I start freaking out. Like I start sweating and be like, but you need to starve yourself. Because in my mind, like,
Is that your
200
number? Is that
What?
like your I don't want to go above number?
let me tell you, she was 226 2 years ago. She never going back. Never going back. Okay.
Close to them. She done got close
Where
to
did
that.
you put all of it?
She be
I
cooking.
don't remember
She
you
be
at no
cooking.
226.
Let me tell you, because it goes all to my ass. It goes to my ass
then I
and my
remember the
face.
ass then.
It goes to my ass and my
in her booty
face.
cheeks. She had
we
to
all
reinforce.
know the ass, so you're right
She
then.
had to reinforce her back pockets with like spandex.
Look, that's how outside of you telling me, that's how I discovered 4-way stretch pants, girl, because she kept blowing them out so much. She needed to, and then they need to be able to give a certain amount.
Right. Yeah.
Giving them.
But no, she getting there though. She got the shoulder, she got the biceps, she got 4 abs now. She getting it there. She is getting it there. I'm gonna be cute.
Ow.
Okay, this summer. Ow.
I know that's
Oh,
right.
before we get too far into this, want to send a shout out to Renee for that intro.
Yes,
Renee.
Renee. Thanks for bringing us in, girl.
Yes.
No.
Laying it down.
Hey, Renee.
We appreciate it, boo.
Renee, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Let's make that happen. Thank you.
And I guess I didn't share this with the pleasantries before the podcast, but your girl got a promotion today.
Hey!
Oh,
Yeah, she did.
Hey!
She got a
That's
promotion
awesome.
today. So she'll be making a few
That's
more
awesome.
coins than she was before. Nothing crazy. Okay? Don't be sliding my DMs, be like,
Hey.
can you pay my bill? Let me get $20. No.
See.
Pookie, you ain't getting nothing.
Can
No.
you pay my bills? Can you pay my automobile?
Yeah,
People
but,
always counting
she works
somebody
hard.
else's money.
Look,
Always
I
in
got a
statement.
promotion. I still ain't got none. So let's just keep it 100. I just
But
appreciate
you know what? It does
the title
feel
change.
good, though. I'm imagining
It
it
does
does
feel
feel
good
good
being
to have your work validated and it's
Oh,
more
yeah.
responsibility. But it's got to feel really good to know that you're making a difference and an impact.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I've been there for 5 years. Well, it'll be 6 years this December. So it's nice, to put myself out there to work for something more versus just coasting and just being okay with my current situation. Like,
Right.
like I said, that was one of my goals was to
It
bet on
was.
myself this year.
It was.
Thanks to, Auntie, showing us how to, invest in yourself. So,
That's the way to do
She
it.
went from single barrel to double barrel Hennessy.
Okay.
All right now. Now she moving into the aged variety.
Oh,
Are you calling me old?
vintage.
No.
Catch it.
Oh, she a vintage hoe.
Caught
She a
it.
vintage hoe. Okay. Oh, Lord. Love it. I know. This past weekend, I done turned 36, so vintage hoe. Vintage hoe.
Or you on the downslide of the 30s.
30s have been great, though.
30s are a wonderful decade.
30s, this decade's been great. Like, you just feel a little more centered, a little more, I don't know, just like you say, betting on yourself and knowing what you want and not being afraid to go get it in a way, which is cool. So
Things
I've
get
enjoyed
really
my
clear.
30s.
And like me looking back, things got really clear in my 30s around what I wanted. Like what I wanted for myself, what I wanted for my career, where I want my life to kind of like, what trajectory did I want to focus in? Because like in my 20s, I felt like you literally have the world at your feet and you have so much opportunity to go in any different direction. You can change your career. You can change your location. You can change the languages that you're speaking. It's just so much that's out there and you're just tasting it all. Whereas 30s, it's like,
Ooh,
okay, now
what you
that
tasting, Dawon?
The rainbow.
smorgasbord.
Taste the rainbow.
plethora of rainbows.
But like when you get in your 30s, you start getting you not only have taste for things, but you have taste. You have a defined taste.
Absolutely.
Right? Which is really cool.
And like you start to get a little more money in your pocket, hopefully, and And I guess in my particular situation, it's just like I didn't come out until a little later. Like it was like literally mid to late 20s. So it's just like you hit your 30s and you're still kind of trying to figure shit out and figure what this life as a gay person is and things like that. So it's honestly almost been only the last few years that I'm finally to be like, okay, I'm getting settled. Like, I'm cool with myself. Like, and that doesn't mean there's still a lot of things I'm working on, things I want to grow, things I want to achieve and get to, etc. But you're a little more settled in that approach, I guess, and knowing that, yes, you don't have all the time in the world, but you have time to figure it out and figure it out along that path, which is maybe in your 20s you didn't quite understand that you're trying to achieve it all at once and this and that. And if you don't, you get upset. And no, you got a little bit of time and figure it out. And what you want at 25 ain't what you want at 35 and 36 and all that stuff. So it's been cool. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the journey.
I saw there was this thing floating around last couple of weeks about the gay experience and how, the majority of us, that are above a certain age have lived the majority of our lives pretending not to be who we are. So when you said, that, I didn't come out till my late 20s, I came out in my early 20s, back in the 1920s.
The roaring 20s, honey, the roaring 20s.
But, I came out in my early 20s, but it was still, for me, it was still tough because, when I came out of my 20s, there weren't protections for, like I remember you could be fired from your job if you were gay. Like that was a real fear.
Absolutely.
So there was still a little bit of, although I never really, once I decided to come out, I was out. I was like out and free. But
it was Diana Ross.
Come in.
He's like, I love you. I love you. I love you.
But oh God, I just had a flashback. I used to work for JP Morgan Chase in their call center as a part-time job while I was still going to college. And I remember like in the office building, at the bottom of the building, the first floor was a mall. And there used to be a Gap there, but I was get like Baby Gap shirts. I just had a flashback.
Not the extra
like,
mediums.
Right. Like, not even full-grown people, just trying to be all twinked out. Oh, my gosh. I am so glad there is no pictures of that stuff.
I'm sure there's a couple. We need to find them, huh?
It's funny. Community, don't you help them out? They ask you on the DL.
Come on, Brandy. Where you at, girl? Miss Cheryl, where you at, girl?
Right. Look, my mom will do it, too. She got a whole box of pictures. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to find that and just send that out.
But it's funny. The book that I'm reading right now is called Mama's Boy. And it's the autobiography of Dustin Lance Black. And if you don't know that name, he's the guy that was the screenwriter for Milk, the movie Milk. That won the best original screenplay.
Harvey Milk. Yeah.
So he won in 2008. But he's your age, Dawon, maybe a little older. But it's just interesting reading this autobiography and just when he came out and the fears that he had and the lack of protections. And it was him that after he won Milk, the screenplay, the Oscar for Milk, he started a lot of the groups that eventually got marriage legalized for us in the country. And he was the one that was fighting Prop 8 and everything. So it was interesting to kind of hear him talk about this and what he had done to help the gay community, honestly. So it's a good read. Anyone who hasn't read it or who hasn't heard of it, Mama's Boy by Dustin Lance Black, good read. And just the struggles he's come from and what he grew up like and what his parents grew up. So it's almost an autobiography for him and his mom, who was a disabled mom. She got polio when she was younger. So she didn't have like use of her legs and just the struggles of them being poor growing up because she couldn't really work and things like that. Anyway, I don't want to spoil it, but it was just interesting to hear you talk about the differences even between I forget how many years are between you and I, 7, 8 years, even that kind of shift in the generation a little bit of when you were coming up. And then even when I was coming up to even maybe when Jerrell was coming up a little bit, those little gaps in those years, almost the different perspectives of what we could and couldn't do. And honestly, a lot of the fears that were still there, even as recent as 5 years ago. Legalization for marriage was just 5 years ago. So it's just interesting to kind of hear the different stories over time. And honestly, I want to get some folks on here of like even an older generation to kind of just hear, especially like as a person of color, their struggles coming up. Like if they're like 60, 70, 80 years old, to kind of hear those stories and tap into it. Because I don't feel as a gay community, especially people of color, that we've tapped into those stories enough yet. Especially the ones that were able to survive the AIDS pandemic, honestly.
And that's
HIV.
the wild thing that I still can't wrap my head around. I was watching a documentary over the weekend, specifically about the AIDS epidemic, and I remember, being, in the, obviously I grew up mostly in the 80s. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s and the 90s, as a teenager in the 90s. And I don't know, like, I remember the after effects. I remember like my senior project, we did an AIDS quilt, because that was, kind of like top of mind. I mean, people were just, it was really bad. And I was watching this documentary and I was thinking back to that and, remembering how frightening just the prospect of coming out was, because it felt like no matter what you did, how safe you would be, there was still this chance that, you would be impacted by this. And, I remember just the power of statistics and what you've heard about like Black and brown people, that, the last thing that I ever wanted to be, I'm thinking about like my mom and my dad, and, the last thing I wanted to be was a statistic, like, oh, he comes out as gay. Then next thing you know, he's telling us that he's, he's this. And I don't want to put any shame or stigma, reinforce any shame or stigma around, HIV status or whatever. I'm just saying contextually for that time, that was a really scary thing, because there was no surefire way of managing it. Yes, there was AZT and it was out, but it didn't work for everybody. And so
a lot of the medications then killed you just as fast, honestly.
Exactly. And so, like I was watching this documentary, having all these thoughts running through my head, fighting back the tears. And I was watching the scene of people kind of like marching in San Francisco and marching to the steps of the FDA that was slowing down the process of, working on AZT, which became a drug that helped so many people. And this thought came in my head, like 90% of the people that marched who were also impacted by, HIV and AIDS were not there 5 years after that.
That's the wild thing.
And, you talking about like, it would be great to, and really informative to bring someone or a couple people on who've kind of lived through that.
Absolutely.
I just
and
can't
maybe we
imagine.
do that for Pride this year. Maybe that's what we do, a couple episodes for Pride this year for our podcast. And then I guess even tap into the community. Community, obviously, we know some of you have lived there or have friends or family members that lived through it. Let us know. Let's tap into our community and see some of these stories and find ways to tell these stories. Because it's important to know the past so we can do better in the future. And even like the misinformation that was probably out during the early days of that, looking back, you'd be like, man, they said that? Kind of similar to almost like, I mean, it's not the same thing, but like almost like the coronavirus now. It's just like all the misinformation that's spreading right now. But the lack of information that truly is known about the virus. So,
and you have to remember,
you
have to remember, we've got the internet today,
right?
So
exactly.
You have, even though there's a shit ton of misinformation on the internet,
absolutely,
but at least you have credible sources like the CDC putting out credible information, and a lot of those days, yes, the internet became prevalent in like the late 80s, early 90s, and then obviously more so as the time went on. But prior to that,
it was hard to get information.
Yeah, you had to call the AIDS hotline.
Yeah.
And you had to talk to volunteers. I actually volunteered on the AIDS hotline. I actually volunteered on the AIDS hotline and the LGBT, because it wasn't Q at that point. The LGBT suicide line. For 2 years, I volunteered on that line. But you had to like call an 800 number because the information just wasn't available. So
yeah.
gone through a lot. Jesus.
Gone through a lot. So, and we've come a long way, but got a long way to still go, honestly, because HIV here in Atlanta, like the rates are insane, especially within the Black and brown communities. The HIV rates are still too high. So we need to do better with information and stopping with a lot of the stigma.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of work around that to go, honestly. So, but this coronavirus, though, man, they got everybody going to Costco, getting all the hand sanitizer, all the rice, all the toilet paper.
You should see it out here in Seattle because the first case of the person to die in the U.S. Died out
was
here.
in your neck of woods.
Yes.
It was a man, right?
Yes. And then actually since then, 5 other people have died.
And I just saw on Twitter, LA,
too.
A person just died today. We're recording on a Wednesday night. Just died in LA as well today. So it's spreading. So like I heard on NPR though, Jerrell, like that a lot of the school systems are closing or shutting down out there. And like, I know you like,
they're not shutting down.
Okay.
So I coach high school sports too,
right.
And track and field just started this week, and so the kids were talking about it too. And they mentioned that the schools are going to be transferring their stuff online, so they're going to be doing online classes for a good amount of all the schools. So then that way the kids can still continue to get their credits and graduate on time, et cetera, like that. So they're looking at moving the classes online just to be on the safe side, and make sure that everything is,
Are you guys going to still be doing like track season and all that? Are you going to still be having like the events?
Yes, the sports won't be canceled. As far as we know right now, sports have not been canceled. I think the main reason why things have not been canceled is because of so far the cases of people passing away have been with older people with underlying illnesses already.
Right.
And so I think that has not raised the level threat so high. But I mean, most of the cases that they are just now figuring out that have multiplied have happened because the CDC has widened their scope of how to test for it, because they now start testing for respiratory issues with unknown reasons. And so that has how other people have been diagnosed now with the coronavirus, because the CDC opened the scope. So there's still a lot of questions as far as like, how it's, truly affecting people, and how contagious it is and how people are spreading it, et cetera. But they've been, from what I've been gathering on the news here, everyone that they've been in contact with, that has been in contact with them, has been quarantined or has been quarantined. And they're doing like a 2-week months back, like making sure that like, okay, where have you been the last last 4 weeks? Who did you get in contact with? Blah, blah, blah. Now give us their contact information, and we're now going to contact them.
Good.
So the CDC has actually came out here and is working with the Washington state government. But I have
a friend that works
crazy
for the CDC here in Atlanta, and I saw him in volleyball league last week, and he's like, yeah, it's wild. Like, that's what he went to school for, so he's kind of giddy in a weird way. He's like, hey, this is what I went to school for. This is what my career is. So it's exciting in a weird way, but he's like, yes, it sucks that people are getting sick and dying. But he's like, honestly, this is a good test run, because he's like, I don't think this is going to be the major pandemic that we've been predicting. He's like, this is going to be a bad one, but he's like, I predict in the next couple of years, there's probably going to be one even worse. And this is going to be a good test run for us to see what our capabilities are, if our hospitals could keep up, if our healthcare system could keep up, if people are going to be willing to wash their hands enough and sanitize enough, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just interesting from his perspective. He's like, man, this might not be the big one that we're thinking. There might be more coming up that this is just the test run for.
Has he said anything about, because I remember saying something about how 45 had cut federal funding for the Centers of Disease Control. And has he said anything about how that's impacted?
I didn't ask that specific question. And we didn't really talk about oh boy, as I call him.
Sure.
But I'm sure it definitely has impacted it, because I know when I first moved here, living here maybe within that first year or so, year and a half, a lot of the folks lost job. But he was one that actually lost job, and he just recently was able to get another job. So I'm sure it has, and the funding is everything, especially for these kind of things.
100%. So it's how you fast track stuff. It's how you get.
Absolutely.
It's just it's the lifeline. So
simple dollars and cents. Like there's just only certain things you could do with certain budgets.
But I will say one thing.
I didn't ask that specific question.
I was going to say one thing that's really irritating me right now is the media coverage of it too, and just how like the media is doing this really just kind of racist, disrespectful kind of push where like 85% of any of the stories being posted, there's like an Asian person on the photo with a freaking mask on their face, you know, or a POC, you know, covering their mouth and stuff like that. Like the way that they are treating this is not helping the situation by any means, because if you got people panicking, you can't get control over anything, you know? And so I just want to say to the community, like, you know, like, I understand memes and joking and making fun here and there. Get it. But just make sure you're not being fucking racist about this and looking at, you know, Asian or Pacific Islander people like they're crazy because they cough. Bitch, they could just be coughing just like how you cough. Like,
and it's allergy season.
And it's allergy season too, right? Okay. Like, don't be that person. Don't be that person. What you should do is mind your fucking business, wash your damn hands, and keep your hands out your damn mouth. Don't put nothing in there that don't need to be in there.
And I literally counted to 30 seconds. I'm like, 1, 2,
right?
Like,
I'll be singing songs.
Yeah, I've been singing because they sing Happy Birthday. Yep. You sing Happy Birthday.
Roll your boat's another one they say.
Yep.
So I'll be in there like, Happy Birthday to you.
Now that's the black one. That's the long. You just need to sing that one word. Just sing it once.
One time.
Just one time. Because that's the black version. You know we be
wash your hands for 8 hours.
Okay.
Like, come on, Stevie.
But yeah, so
man.
just community, just make sure you guys
hands.
are, you know, washing your hands, you know, wiping down your, you know, your doors, your anything that you bring in and out your own house, you know, spray it down with Lysol, kill the germs, etc.
And your cell phone be nasty as I don't know
that's
what.
big time. But yeah, just stay on your P's and Q's, y'all, and don't be trying to place blame and, you know, say this person got it, this person, because that ain't cool. That ain't cool at all.
And also watch where you get your information from, too.
Exactly.
Like, make sure you're getting your information from credible sources, because obviously this day and age, especially with like politics and things, we could spread anything at any point and it could be completely wrong. So make sure you're looking at the CDC or the World Health
Organization
the website. Yeah.
WHO.
Yes. Make sure you're looking at sites like that, obviously, or like the abc.coms and like credible sources, not like your homeboy.com or, you know,
Backpage.
Make sure you're looking, right. Exactly.
Right.
You know, misconnections on these websites and shit.
Well, didn't the CDC came out with an advisement this past Monday or Tuesday telling people to stop buying the mask because the actual germs or the virus is small enough to pass through the mask anyway. So they were saying that that's not a preventative measure, and people are actually depleting the supplies that are much needed in other areas of medicine, you know, thinking that that's going to do something for them. So,
and they said like the people that are actually sick, if you're actually sick, yes, the mask might help control a little bit. But you just walking through the Walmart with the mask on ain't going to do nothing.
Not going to do
Wash
anything.
your damn hands, and that's going to literally be the best means that you could do to prevent any cold or sickness, honestly. But specifically this one as well. So anyway, but I think this week we're going to ask your aunties in here a little earlier. So what time is it?
Ask your
auntie.
I forget who I was just talking to recently. They're like, every time y'all do the Ask Your Aunties intro, it's one of y'all always singing through it. Or doing some little cha-cha during it. I'm like, that's right. We can't help it.
We get excited about these.
Oh, man. And this week's is a juicy, y'all. Oh, prepare yourself. Here we go. It says, aunties, I need your advice. With prep, a lot of guys are raw dogging it now more than ever. I have a friend that I know has herpes because he breaks out often. Ooh, they didn't have to put that detail in there. Damn, that's some shade. That's a shade moment. My bad. And he has sex without condoms all the time. So I'm struggling even being friends with him because of his behavior. So question 1, is this a friendship deal breaker? And question 2, he's seeing someone I know that he hasn't told him about his STD. Should I tell them? So this is a two-parter. One, is this a friendship deal breaker for you? And 2, if you know your friend is sleeping around with someone you know, do you tell them that he has herpes? I heard the collective sigh from the community too.
Okay, so I'll go. So like I've already said before, I'm that friend that's always gonna say something. So yeah, I'm gonna say something. See something, say something. Live by the code, die by the code. That's why you don't put your business out there. 1 and 2, if you shouldn't be doing, don't be doing it in the first place. Just saying. But as far as like falling out or like having a hard time being friends with that person, I would agree. Like I can't rock with someone who morally is just not disclosing health issues or health concerns to someone else and just letting them know or giving them the choice to put themselves in that position to possibly, contract herpes from them, or her or whoever it is. So yeah, I honestly would be looking at the person sideways. I would first have the conversation with the person and be like, hey, what you're doing is fucked up. I will let them know that morally that's not cool. And, if someone was doing that to you, how would you feel? And if they honestly say that they wouldn't care, then I'm like, you know what? That says a lot about you. That means who knows what you would let happen to me or whatever the case is. I don't need you messing up my vibes. Nope. Not this decade. So my 2020 is all about protecting my vibe. And if you fucking up my vibe, you guys to go.
Yeah, I feel you on that one because you are the company that you keep. Mm-hmm. And so I get that struggle. There's times when like there are people in your life, like especially family members that do things that you don't agree with, but you still rock with them because, blood is thicker than water. Not to say you do it all the time, but majority of the times, they do something you're like, well, I don't like that, but you're still my brother, cousin, auntie, whatever. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to like friends, I feel like the older that I get, the more scrutiny I have on those kinds of relationships. And, it is about that energy that you bring around yourself. It affects you and it becomes part of you and you become associated with it. So I get it. And I'm not going to say that this is got to be an easy decision, which is probably why you're asking your aunties for some moral support. But there's something really fucked up in somebody's head that, that says, I don't care what you do with your own body, but when you are then impacting other people unknowingly, that's a huge problem. Mm-hmm. And it's criminal. It's criminal.
Unknowingly or knowingly?
Well, knowingly. You know it, but they don't know it.
Yeah. Right. So you know it, that's knowingly. Yeah.
Right.
That's
and
knowingly.
You're right. It is criminal, especially when it comes to HIV and AIDS.
Right.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So, like I couldn't hang. And I suspect that because you're asking this question, you're not only on that line, but you are just looking for validation to say that you're making the right decision. And quite frankly, I would say drop this person because that's just really, really reckless behavior. And I don't want to assume anything about people's motives or their intentions. It could be an immaturity thing. Or it could be a symptom of hurt people. And, but that's not for you to solve. You can choose to explore that with your friend if you feel like the relationship is worth it. But it's really fucking problematic that this person is going out there and and doing this knowingly, willingly, and not disclosing their status. Now, if they're disclosing their status, that they have, herpes, that they're HIV positive, but they're on PrEP, and they're and between the two of them, they choose not to use protection. That's a whole different story. But the fact that this person is not telling them that they have an STD, and it's kind of interesting the fact that that they break out often.
Right. That was that shade moment. I was like, "Ooh, you shady for that part." Yeah, I had to say that.
Well, like besties, they be telling each other almost everything. So I guess I could clearly tell everything.
Or he caught him itching a couple times. Scratch.
But I tend to agree with what you guys said. Like for me, if at this point I was thinking, like, if you're that close that all this information, why haven't you taken the time to sit down and be like, okay, why are you doing this? Why are you scared to tell your lovers that you have herpes? Like, I feel like as a friend, if we're already that close, we could have that adult conversation saying, okay, I know you out here acting reckless, not using condoms and stuff. Why are you doing that? Like, why? And having that conversation and be like, you need to stop that. That's not safe for the people you're sleeping with. And honestly, it's not safe for you because you don't know if people they find out and the retaliation of it and things like that. Like, that's crazy. So like for me as a friend, I would literally sit my friend down and be like, why are you acting this reckless? Like, honestly, like, why are you spreading this? Because you knowingly are doing it. So that would be my first thing. Like, I don't know if it would be the deal breaker right away because I would want to help them and be like, what is the motive of you doing this? Because that's not cool.
Some people are just into that raw dog.
Well, I get that part. So if it's simply that, then you need to be like, why are you not telling these people that?
Yeah.
Like, what is your reasoning of being secretive? Yes, I know there's stigma around STIs and all this stuff. I get it. However, you should not be passing this along knowingly like this. Yeah. And like Dawon said, you guys have the conversation and they're cool with it. Okay, that's between two consenting adults. Stay out of grown folks' business then. Is what it is. But you not giving them the heads up is completely wrong. And then I would say,
it ain't
if
cute.
we had that,
let's put that out there. It ain't
exactly
cute. Like if they think it's cute, or they think, oh yeah, I'm just doing me, I'm just living my life, and like no, that is not cute. That is immature, and it is reckless, and it's dangerous, and it's criminal.
Absolutely. So I feel like I would start there first. Have the conversation, because clearly, if you know all day business like this, you guys are close enough to have an adult conversation, as uncomfortable as it may be. Then if they don't want to have the conversation, if they continue to act reckless, continue to not care, that might be the point where I'm like, I don't know if I can rock with you like this close at least anymore. Like, maybe see you at the club. Hey girl, hey, life is good. Okay, cool. But can't have you in my space like that because you that reckless. I mean, we all got some reckless friends here and there. Let's be all the way real, that we all have not cut out of our lives.
Right.
So we say that in theory, but it's harder to do than just saying, oh, you cut out. No, we all got some reckless ass friends here and there. Right. But it might not be that friend that you tell everything to, might not be that person that's in your inner circle and things like that. And then for the question 2, would you tell the friend? Ooh, you might have to, honestly. I think usually I always say I stay out of grown folks' business. But if I knew that they did not know and that my one friend is not telling people that they have this STI and they sleeping with my other friend, I think I would feel obligated to, as uncomfortable as that conversation is going to be and how much it's going to look like you just prying too, But at the minimum, I would be like, hey, just be all the way real. Subject A, I know that they have an STI, you may want to go and get checked. And then also you might want to have this conversation with them. I'm not sure if they told you or not, but I just want you to be aware so that you are living a healthy life as well.
I think the way that I would approach it would be, I would have the conversation with my friend first, because that's the primary relationship. And I would say, that I know that you and so-and-so, whoever so-and-so is, are
messing around,
hooking up, messing around, seeing each other, whatever. And if you do not tell them, by such time, then I'm going to tell them. Because I almost feel like if you don't have this conversation with your friend with whom you're close with, and then you have this other person, which I'm assuming you're not as close with, so maybe they're an acquaintance or whatever, but then you don't have a conversation with your friend, but you do have a conversation with this kind of like rando, like that's kind of weird. I mean, I get it that it's protective of that person because you know something that they don't. And I don't know how much of an assumption that is because maybe they do know. But that could be the friendship killer right there. You could be telling this person to thinking you're protecting them. They may have already had the conversation or maybe not, but then your friend that's supposedly your bestie finds out and then the relationship is over with because you didn't have the conversation with them first.
Yeah, I think you definitely had the conversation first. But I think once you have that conversation, I honestly think if it's someone that you know and is in your collective of acquaintances and friends, I think you almost owe it to them because let that friend find out you knew this whole time that subject A had herpes and you ain't said nothing. Like, then that's ruining the friend group.
I don't even know how you even begin that conversation with that other person, though.
Me either.
How do you do that?
So look here.
Sit down. Buy him a cocktail first.
Something.
I got something to tell you.
Slide
them a note on the table.
But it's like say, Dawon, you had herpes and you slept with me, and Jerrell knew the whole time. That's crazy. That is crazy.
It's disrespectful to the other friendship,
absolutely.
I get that you want to protect the friend's business who has the herpes. However, that person is aware of the situation. The other person is not. And all parties need to be on the same page. So the person that matters the most in the situation is the one that's not on the same page, that does not have all the information. That's the person that matters the most.
Right. And even if I need to be the mediator, like maybe all three of y'all need to sit down. Maybe that makes it more comfortable. I don't know. It's going to be uncomfortable nonetheless. So at the end of the day, you got to find a way that they can accept it, and hear you, and make it seem like you're not trying to just be messy, like some Atlanta Housewives stuff.
Or what do you maybe you just try to sabotage, the relationship in general without having to spill the tea. Maybe you just plant some seed or make some shit up and be like,
no, that's this person. I got time for that.
Come on,
don't take that from Auntie Hennessy.
No, I mean, no, for real, because some people are more comfortable lying than telling the truth because they want to protect the other person. You get what I'm saying? Like some people will see that as a white lie because what they're doing is they're respecting the other person and respecting this person by making sure that person isn't in contact with that person anymore.
I mean, I get that.
So that way you don't have to tell person's A business. But you're making sure that person B is not involved with person A anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, it's messy. And yes, I live for the mess, all of the mess.
But the bottom line is they already slept together. So I would still want them to be like, you need to go get checked.
Did it say that they were already sleeping or he was interested?
No. They already slept together. It says, I'm trying to find it back up here. Raw dogging it now more than ever. I have a friend that knows he has herpes. He's seeing someone I know.
Yeah, so
girl, if you're seeing somebody, you already done touched that PP.
Remember, she waits.
The one that got 6 months rule.
She waits. Okay, look, don't play. Some of us know how to close our legs while at dinner. Okay, look, some of us do wait.
She's making it sound like she knows for sure that they've kind of slept around.
Spilling the tea.
Because he's seeing someone I know
I
that
read
he
it
has
as
not
more
told about the STDs. Should I tell them?
I hear it more as the person believes that that's going to be the next thing. At least that it's going. If it hasn't happened, it's going to happen.
Okay, so let's take the second scenario now. Say it has not happened. Mm-hmm. Do you tell them?
Again, I think I would go the route of just being like person B, like that's my friend. but I'm gonna need you to pull back, and I just need to trust me on it. Like, if you value my friendship as your friend, like, you need to trust me when I tell you that you need to just stop fucking around with this person, period.
I don't know if it would happen. I don't know if it would work.
Honestly, because the thing is, like, for instance, like, if one of y'all told me, but like, Jerrell, such and such is not a good person, I know y'all and respect you and love y'all enough to take y'all word for that. I don't need to go and burn myself fucking around with this person when I know you two and can take what you say at face value without having to question it.
But you're not the norm. You're not the norm.
Right. You miss black and white.
You're very black and white. Not a lot of people are not that way.
Yeah. I see.
She only got three feelings. Come on now.
Let me tell you.
No,
look,
she up to like 8 or 9 now.
I'm about 8 or 9. Yeah, I'm at 8 or 9.
But it's been a slow climb.
I just think about, like, you know, growing up, my parents telling me, you know, like, you don't need to always learn the hard way. Certain things you just have to learn for yourself. Absolutely. That's just life.
But also last week's episode, you said, don't tell me what to do as well. So, like, if someone came to you, sometimes you'd be like, don't tell me what to do kind of thing. Especially let that brother be fine or that sister be fine.
And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But I'm saying, like, to cover your ass as the friend.
Yeah.
That's what you would say. Now, their choice is their choice. If they choose not to listen to you, cool, that's all right. But you did your due diligence as the friend to give them the heads up, period. You told them without telling the business, don't do it. If they chose to do it, it's on them. I shouldn't have to tell you. I shouldn't have to go into a fucking full-on description. But
it's herpes, though.
Honey, it don't matter what it is.
There's no cure for herpes.
But here's the thing. Like you said, you aren't the one. You're not the one to even. You're not the one to even insert your nose into other people's business. So the fact being that you're coming at me to say something tells me already that what you have to say means something.
I don't think that would work for everybody. You're not the norm, because I know some people right now that I would tell, and they wouldn't care. At the end of the day, they would have to go through it. And they'd be like, damn, why didn't you tell me the specifics?
I shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't, but
no.
Some people do rely on relationship equity for some of their decisions, but then some people, they be dickmatized.
Right? Let that brother be fine as hell.
We know a lot of people that
You see that ass poking out or that bulge poking out.
We see a lot of people that be dickmatized, asthmatized, vagina-atized, eyeball-atized, mouth-atized. Like they want it.
Bicep-atized, calf-atized, height-atized, short-atized, anything. Like, so that's the thing. Is just like, and especially when it comes to something this serious, honestly. Like, if it was like they broke or something like that, or like treated someone wrong. Okay, yes, I'd be like, okay, girl, I don't fuck with him, but do you? But it's herpes we're talking about here in this situation.
It shouldn't matter. Like, I agree. I agree with you guys. I agree with you guys. Like, people can get caught up and, you know, liking someone for whatever ism or eyes it is or whatever the case is. But that still doesn't mean that you have to go into full detail about anything. That's on the other person. You can't take responsibility for someone else needing the whole picture when you're giving them the real list just by being like, don't even go there.
So that's for you. So Dawon, if I came to you and said, okay, I know you messing around with Jerrell. Trust me.
Why I gotta be Jerrell?
I know, right?
Because it's gotta be whomever. It's just the easiest for the sake of this.
Right.
I know you mess around with Jerrell. Trust me on this. You might not want to mess around. What are you gonna be like? Why?
Or you just gonna be like, I'm gonna ask all kinds of questions.
All kinds of questions, right?
I'm gonna get that tea because I want to know.
It's the same here.
That's why you keep your mouth closed and you be like, go to the person and find out.
If you're like, well, I'm just want to tell you, you know, from my experience, and you start doing this with your hands, then I'm gonna be like, this bitch jealous. She don't want me to shine.
Right. Exactly.
I would never. I guess I'm
so black and white.
You're black and white.
It's not even just black and white. I just if I call someone my friend, that means there's a foundation of trust that doesn't need to be tested.
100%.
And I don't need to go and look for a why for something. I'd be like, you know what? Cool. That person got me. Good looking out. Keep it pushing. I don't
Jerrell's
need
the one
to, I
where
don't
you see
need
one
to
black person run in
experiment.
the movie theater. He's the next one to run.
What'd you
He's the
say?
first one to be running out that bitch.
Who?
You know how they always say, "Oh, if let one person run in here, I'm running too."
Yes.
Jerrell be like, "Bitch,
Yeah,
I'm the first
exactly.
one going."
Real talk. I ain't asking no questions.
I'm a stand up. I'm a look
Right.
around. I'm gonna
Right.
assess the situation
Same
because they
here.
might be
No.
running into something,
Facts.
not from something.
No. I'll catch it on the news.
No.
I'll catch it on social media. I'll catch the story, the ha he he afterwards. But no, I trust my friends to a T.
I do think, however, that there's that for each individual person, they have to go with their conscience. So if your conscience is telling you that you need to have a conversation with this person and or a conversation with this other person, then that's what you should do for your own sake. And
Clarity,
and realize and recognize that you having the conversation does not mean that you are responsible for how they are to receive it and what they are responsible for doing afterwards.
Absolutely.
If it's on your spirit to have a conversation with this other person and not your so-called friend, and you will let the chips fall where they may, then follow your conscience, follow how you're convicted, because at the end of the day, if you go against that, you will feel a certain kind of way.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
I
that's
agree with that
basically what I'm
statement.
saying. Just drop a few less chips without putting out all the
dropping all them
details. You know,
I'm dropping the whole
you don't gotta
Frito
drop the
Lays.
whole the whole
whole
pouch, you know, just a
Doritos.
couple
She's like,
breadcrumbs, you know. Let
I'm
people
like,
come
girl,
to
I
the
got
conclusion
these I got
themselves.
these Cheetos for you, girl. These Funyuns.
I don't know. I'm the type of person that would just try to make sure that both parties, that I'm respectful. Again, because I'm assuming that you are friends with this other person. Okay. So in my mind, the solution to make sure that you are respectful as a friends for both parties is to say something without going into detail. And I also think about this because I also have other friends who are HIV positive as well. And I've had the conversation about stuff being other people's business. Like, when they want to tell a person that they're interested when they're HIV positive. It's not my place to tell someone that my friend is dating that they're HIV
true.
positive.
It's
It's not
true.
my place.
100%.
It's not my fucking business. And neither is someone else's herpes. But it is my job as a friend to make sure, like Kerel said, and both, I guess we all have said, to make sure that you're talking to your friend and your friend is being smart about it and then not just spreading shit around. But at the end of the day, it is not your business. It is nobody's fucking business to tell anyone else's medical conditions. Period. It's not.
Whew. So I don't know if we helped you out or not. It's a hard one. It really is. And one other point I do want to make, just from the PrEP point of view, PrEP is a good drug. However, I think there are certain people that think it's like this miracle drug. It's specifically for HIV. That's literally the STI it is for. So don't take PrEP thinking you're not going to get herpes and chlamydia and all these other STIs. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be wearing condoms and things like that still. Once again, I stay out of grown folks' business. Do what you want to do. But I don't want PrEP to get a bad label or a bad viewpoint, because it is a good drug to continue to help eradicate HIV, or at least limit the transmissions and things like that. There still needs to be a conversation, obviously, about healthy sex practices between consenting adults, but PrEP shouldn't be the bad guy in the conversation. It's literally the people not doing healthy sex practices. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I just wonder, because I've been so removed from the dating scene for a while now. I just wonder how prevalent is conversations about, your, like health conditions, are in hookup culture. Like, I know that there's some far extremes out there with like, come in and I'm, you do me and I'm blindfolded and blah, 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 blah. Or there's an orgy and blah, 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 blah. There's that shit that happens.
All the way in.
Literally all the way in.
All the way in. Figuratively and literally. she said the blindfold and the orgy and this. I'm like, oh, okay, come on. You just told us all your little fantasies.
Anti-ways. But, like, I know that there's like extremes that are out there. And I'm not talking about the extremes, and I'm just talking about just regular dating culture. Like, if you're out there and you're single and you're having fun and you're hooking up, and using apps or meeting people in real life or whatever, and you're just hooking up, I just wonder how prevalent, talking about whether or not, you have any, communicable diseases or, what your HIV status is. Because I remember, like when I was dating, and whatnot, like that was part of the conversation. Like you talked about that, at least to ask. Like I know I asked, like I said, this is my situation, and I'm curious about yours, just so that we're all on the same page. And as uncomfortable as that may seem, but it was a necessary evil, because then you weren't like wondering.
Right.
Obviously, people don't have to tell the truth or whatever, but still, at least you've done the due diligence of asking the question for yourself, and you disclose. I'm just curious as to whether or not that's still part of the culture, or with PrEP, there's this concept out here that you don't even have to talk about it, because the biggest thing to worry about is HIV, not really thinking about gonorrhea and syphilis and herpes and all these other, STIs that are out there that are also communicable, that are not managed through PrEP. And, even those, like the majority of them can be treated with penicillin, there are those like herpes that cannot. So once you got it, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some information on herpes too, just a little education on here. According to the World Health Organization, 3.7 billion people under the age of 50 have herpes simplex virus type 1. That's 67% of the global population in that age bracket. Another 417 million people, that's 11%, between the ages of 15 and 49 worldwide have herpes simplex virus type 2. So it's...
One, I think, is mouth. One is mouth. And then two is genitals.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it's a very common thing now. Even on their website, they say teenagers aged 14 to 18, it's very common for them to have it. It's very common for young adults to 19 to 40 to have it. Same thing with adults from 41 to 60 years to have it, and 60 plus. Like all those age brackets are very common to have herpes. So I don't know. Maybe talk to your friend. I say talk to your friend first before going to spill on the guts, but. Yeah. So that's a juicy question. Goddamn.
That was a juicy question. Woo.
Yeah, we spent a hot minute
and give
on
us
that
a follow-up. We want to follow up on that question. Whoever sent that in, hopefully you're listening to the podcast regularly. We want to follow up on that. Not to hear, just simply to hear messiness if it gets messiness, but I think it's an educational situation for all of us. We might not have all the right answers. What did you ultimately end up doing, and what was the conclusion of it, honestly, so we can all learn from this, because there's probably not one right way to go about this, but hopefully as adults, we can at least learn to communicate better. I think it always goes back to that communication foundation, that there's some fear of some kind of reaction or non-acceptance from whomever. We got to get over that and communicate that, because it's literally affecting lives. So
absolutely.
Anyway.
I also feel that people struggled with just communicating altogether. How do I even go about having this conversation? And the thing that I would say is, there are people that have, can approach the situation in all different kinds of ways. But I think if your intention is positive and pure, the words will follow. So don't be so caught up on trying to say it the right way or whatever. Just make sure your heart and your spirit and your mind is in the right place, right? And then the words that will come out of your mouth will support what your intention is when you're having when and if you are having these conversations, these tough conversations with other people. So much of us watch TV and we see like these people give these eloquent speeches about, shit that's going on in their lives, or, convincing other people and blah, 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 blah. And they automatically think that because I don't talk like that I can't say anything. Otherwise I'm going to say it wrong or whatever. And the reality of it is if your intention is right, you can't say it wrong.
Thank you for sending that question in. Continue to do so. Continue to send your questions in. We know we only do about one an episode. We got a queue. If you haven't heard your question, we're getting there. But continue to do so because we enjoy these conversations. Because honestly, I learn from them each week. If nobody 100%. Else does, at least Kerel does. Oh man! But last week episode, we got into politics, and it looks like we probably got to get into it again because one week passes and it got crazy. Pete done dropped out. Amy done dropped out. Bloomberg done dropped out. By the time this episode comes out, maybe Warren drops out. We don't know. She's looking at her options right now, but she didn't do as well on Super Tuesday as she thought she was going to. She didn't even win her home state. She got third place in her home state.
Yeah.
So that's
I was
not
surprised
looking
that
good for her.
Buttigieg was the first out of that group to drop. I was really surprised. I thought Amy Klobuchar would drop before Buttigieg because he had more in the bank. Now I know that he got
that back room deal. Guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure of it. But like to have Klobuchar and Buttigieg and Bloomberg drop out before what's the chick? Gabbard with the evil
Hawaiian
streak.
Yeah, she got the Cruella de Vil gray hair streak.
Right. Yeah. Like she's still like lingering around in the background.
Yeah, she need to stop wasting money. Just stop wasting money, girl.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just surprised when they
lady like
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I didn't think about it until Kerel, you said something in our group text about it being kind of fishy, like something suspicious. But like now that I think about it more, I'm like, fuck yeah! Like the day before Super Tuesday,
right?
You drop out,
and
like, what the fuck?
Endorse Biden,
both of them endorse Biden.
Yes,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And
it's so insane.
Like,
it was so
the other thing
fishy.
that pisses me off too is like. For instance, like Washington, we mail in our votes. So all the people who have been mailing in their votes for those two, gone.
Exactly.
Done.
And like I planned on voting for Warren, but like number wise, she's not going to get.
Do it. I know.
She's not going to get it. And so
that
like
was a conversation
now I have
Corey
to
and
choose.
I were having.
Right. So now I have to choose between Biden and Bernie, basically.
Yeah.
And so I still got some time. I don't need to, mail in my ballot just yet, but I'm going to wait another week just to watch how things unfold before I cast my vote because I want to make sure that my vote counts. I'm not going to, I'm glad I didn't get the ballot and I just filled it out and mailed it right away because I would have been sitting here pissed.
But, it's interesting too. This kind of shows why Trump also abused his power about Biden, because I think he saw early on that it might end up being Biden, and I think he knows it might not be my best chance. I think he thinks he could beat Bernie. I don't think thinks he could beat Biden. So I think that's why early on he abused his power to try to get some crazy story out there to screw up the whole thing, and it didn't quite work out. And now people thought Biden was dead.
And this dude came from rigor mortis.
Uncle Joe said,
arm reaching out from under the dirt,
like the Thriller video or something. And he said Uncle Joe, and then Auntie Jill pushing bitches off the stage. Like they said, we fighting out on this bitch.
Yo, she said, "Oh, you ain't gonna pull up on my man, what you not gonna do."
That's a ride or die.
That's a real one. That's a real one.
And
she
we
said,
forget
fuck the camera.
Like,
I don't give a fuck who gonna see this. Get the fuck off the stage.
And we forget, like their families had some tragedies. Like they lost their son, 2 years ago now. Yeah. 2 years ago, it's like almost 2 years that they lost their son. Yeah, so like they've gone through some really tough times. But it's just interesting. It's interesting to me that people get so wrapped up in these candidates so early. They put so much emotional investment in these candidates so early.
And
when it doesn't even matter.
Bernie Bros. Oh my God. Drive me insane. Those exactly.
They better not mess this up again.
What though? I blame
Better not.
Bernie. I blame Bernie because the same thing happened in 2016.
And he
It
hasn't
did.
checked them yet.
He should have had the courage and the dignity to throw his support behind Hillary so that she had the best shot. But instead, he waited.
He waited too long, yeah.
Way too long before he even said anything. And has he said anything at all at this bubbling of his supporters right now who are viscerally and personally attacking people?
Right.
I think he said that part. I don't know if he said that.
No,
but I
he
think
hasn't.
he did say on the last debate, though, that even if he were to lose, he would put his support to whomever.
Yes, he
That's
did.
what he
He
has
did
said.
say
He said that
that.
on the debate, but he hasn't checked. Like,
he has a
He hasn't checked his
responsibility to
following.
check his
Yes,
people,
yes,
check his bars,
absolutely.
because again, the fish thinks from the head.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that Bernie's, like bad for the US, but what I'm saying is that if you're the leader and you have all these followers that are passionate about you,
yeah.
and you see that their passion for you is tearing at the fabric of the Democratic vote, so that when it comes down to those votes counting, you can't count on them to carry this forward, then we're going to have another 4 years.
Right. And
He has to say something.
And my thing is, like, I understand, like, I like Bernie as far as he stands for fairness and like equality. Like, he wants things to be fair. And I like him. What I don't like is his over aggressiveness. I don't like that. I don't like that he doesn't check the people who are following behind him, and that he supports them being just as aggressive as he is with other people. I don't support that. I like the idea that a lot of the Bernie bros or whatever supporters are very much, talking about the fabric of our justice. I mean, of our democracy and how it's not fair. And there's a lot of corruption in it. And I'm like, I agree with you completely. But what you don't do is quit. What you don't do is not vote.
Throw a tantrum when you don't
hold the election hostage.
What you don't do is you don't do that. What you do, however, is you fucking vote. What you do is you make sure that you vote, especially on your local level, your state levels, for your House of Representatives and your senators, because those are the things that really matter, because that's where the checks and balances come into play. Yes, the president matters off of power and title alone.
And also, if you're that passionate, honestly, find a way to get involved.
Right. But, like saying, oh, well, I'm not going to vote is not doing anything but hurting everybody. It hurts everybody. You're trying to start a new game, fucking dismantle it from within inside, and then build from scratch. But don't start something else. Like, it ain't going to work. You got to play the game.
The one thing I really do give Bernie credit, though, what at the end of the day, I'm voting for blue. I done said that I think we've all said that from the get-go, so it's not even a question between Bernie and Biden at this point. Don't care who it is, I'm voting for him. But the one thing I do enjoy about Bernie is it takes someone, and this is what I enjoy about Warren as well, it takes someone to really put these almost pie-in-the-sky ideas to push us forward. Because if not, you settle for crumbs. If you ask for crumbs, you're going to get crumbs.
Correct.
If you ask for the pie, maybe you get a slice. If you ask for the pie, maybe you get an actual slice instead of crumbs. So that's what I actually really enjoy about Bernie, because now it's showing that there's actually people in this country, because there's still a crap ton of people voting for Bernie in these primaries that agree that we should have universal health care. And like these pie in the sky, or whatever they call pie in the sky, that's what they want you to think, is probably more realistic than we think if we actually said, okay, let's actually sit down and have a conversation and allocate our money correctly and efficiently.
This is common sense.
Exactly.
This is common sense legislation.
So it's just and I think I said last time, it's crazy that people think this is so radical, but they don't think white nationalists are radical and crazy. Right. But it's just like, I like people that push. That's why I enjoy, you might not enjoy the way that they push you. It might rub you a little the wrong way. It might make you uncomfortable. But if not, that's why we enjoy the Steve Jobs of the world. we got the iPhone. He pushed people. He rubbed them the wrong way. Not everybody liked Steve Jobs, but at the end of the day, he pushed technology forward. Elon Musk right now, same way. We might not enjoy exactly the way he goes about it, but he's doing these big things to show, oh, damn, maybe we can do that. Or at least here's a variation in a different path. So that's why I genuinely enjoy about Warren and Bernie instead of kind of maybe more the moderate. Because honestly, what this primaries kind of showed is Biden really won a lot of like the southern states. And unfortunately, the southern states are really still holding our country hostage and conservative, like being conservative. Like it's hard for them because they kind of just deal more with the fear base of like, oh, that's going to be too much money, or oh, this is not going to be able to do it, and So that's why Biden's probably going to end up getting the nomination, because there's still quite a few people that are scared of progression, you know, and Bernie might be too pie in the sky for them because they don't see the path. But a lot of times you don't need to see the path. Just believe that someone else sees it and have the capability of getting you there, you know, and that's hard for a lot of people to digest, unfortunately.
Yeah. And we should note, too, that Bernie isn't out. Like, he actually still has a really good chance of winning as well. I think he's
aren't there 19, I think it's like 1,900 electoral votes, and then you have to win, like, what is it, 697 or something in order to get the nomination. Something like that.
But number-wise, Bernie is not that far behind Biden.
No, not at all.
Where Bernie can actually still, because there's still so many states that need to, you know, count votes, et cetera, like that.
I mean,
and
New York, we don't even vote until the 28th of April.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that Bernie's going to get Washington. So, like...
So, honestly, it can end up coming down to not election night, but like close to the primary Democratic convention night, honestly. You're right. Like, Bernie is not out. And I don't want to portray that I think Bernie's out.
Because Bernie will probably take New York. And he'll take California.
He already took California.
The masses and the party are working against him hard.
Yes, they absolutely are.
But he's putting up a fight. And I honestly think what's going to have to happen, because I just always look at the data and stuff like that. What you see is a lot of the young people enjoy Bernie and believe in Bernie. So Biden is going to have to find someone on his ticket to get.
You know what's interesting, though, about the young people? There was an article that came out in Huffington Post today that talked about the demographics of people that voted early. And those same young people that were supposedly all fired up about Bernie did not show up at the polls.
Not as many as they thought, yeah. But the ones that did show up are still overwhelmingly Bernie. So those that are still overwhelmingly
But disproportionately, a significant portion of those folks did not show up to vote. So however impassioned you may be, if you are not exercising your right to vote, you only have yourselves to blame. So if you didn't show up and you mad that Bernie didn't get the nomination or didn't get the votes for your state, guess what? You're part of the problem.
But I guess that's even probably like a sub B of my point. Part A of my point is even the ones that do show up, they need to find a way for them to still believe in a Biden, because even if it's not this year, that 18 to 29-year-old range, we still got the next 4 years. We got 8 years from now, and you don't want them to get in the habit of not showing up and voting and things, or not believing that their voice isn't being heard. Because if like another Biden gets in there, they're like, well, every time it's just going to be an old white dude. Well, I guess Bernie is too, but like one that's more moderate instead of progressive. Why do I care? So they're going to have to find someone on their ticket that they believe, if it's not Bernie, which I doubt it will be a Bernie, but maybe a Warren.
That's what I was going to say. It should be Warren. You know? If Biden is smart, and if he is really smart, he will somehow get Elizabeth Warren to back him, and she be his VP.
Yeah,
because
it's gonna be interesting.
Because a lot of a lot of Warren's base, like they also like Bernie Sanders as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of Bernie Sanders people actually like Warren as well too. They just like Bernie Sanders because he's a male, and they think that he can beat Trump more than Warren.
Right.
But Warren and Bernie's ideals are fundamentally negative. They're the same.
Right.
It's just one's a man, one's a woman, and they just think that Bernie will beat Trump more than Warren will.
Right.
So
I think Warren will be a really good
Yeah.
I feel like Warren will be a really good Secretary of State as opposed to a VP. I'm not saying that I wouldn't support her, being the VP, but I'm just fundamentally thinking about because essentially your vice president is kind of like a lame duck. Like they'll have like their kind of like agendas or whatever, but they're not really pushing a lot of massive policies through ordinarily. But your Secretary of State has tremendous influence. And that could be a stepping stone into the presidency as well.
I don't know if I see her as Secretary of State as much. I almost see her as, and I don't even know all the cabinet names, something that's going to have to deal, because her main shtick is dealing with the finances and going after these big corporations. Like that's her big platform. So whatever cabinet member that is, if it's treasurer, I don't know all the cabinet members. Secretary of State, I don't know. I think she'd do good at any job. She's a smart lady. She'd figure this shit out. But I don't know. I feel like her passion is still making it fair for people to keep their money and go after the rich a little bit, have them pay a little more in their taxes. So whatever cabinet member would be kind of more of the money vibe. Secretary, honestly, what's old girl that's still in it? She might be a good Secretary of State, honestly. Like, she's all about the military. She's all impassioned about that, and she's been in it.
You talking about Klobuchar?
No, Kelsey Gilbert.
Gilbert. She might.
There is something about her I just don't trust.
Me either, though.
I just don't trust. There is something about her that I don't trust her.
I agree with that statement,
at
though.
all. There's something very like self-serving and like underhanded. It's almost like she has an agenda that we don't know about.
Facts.
Like her reason for running is not because because she believes she's the best candidate. And this is just my opinion, so I don't, this is not on behalf of,
don't come for
anyone else. But like, I feel like for me, she's like a Russian operative. Not in the real sense, but like there is something going on underneath the surface that is a real motivator for her. And I don't know that it's in the best interest of our country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, so, Department of Treasury. Elizabeth Warren might be good at Department of Treasury.
Yeah.
She might be good at that one, I think.
I always think about the Department of State because that provides you with incredible amount of influence, both nationally and internationally. It's a policy driving position. It is a significant executive position, and it is gives you really good experience that can bolster your credibility for moving into the presidential role.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
In my view.
No, I agree with that statement. But anyway, so politics. We still got, I don't know how many more
girl,
months
we got to get all the way through November.
Girl.
We still got 8 months, y'all. 8 months. 8 months.
Hang in there, y'all. But make sure you're registered. There's still
when
been
are all the
stories.
primaries done? Because I know in New York, our primary isn't until the 28th of April.
I know there's some, I think, until like May 7th or something like that.
I think I want to say June.
It goes a while.
Yeah.
Like I know Georgia's is March 24th. But yeah, I know Corey voted last week already. I'm going to try to get there.
June 6th.
Yeah.
June 6th.
Jesus.
So yeah.
All the way into Pride Month.
So
damn.
But all up in it. But make sure you're registered because I'm still hearing stories, at least here in Georgia, of how they're still purging folks out of these records. So do the due diligence. Even if you checked already, check again. If you moved recently, check again. Like if you changed your last name because you got married or something, check again because they are purging these folks left and right here in Georgia, and it's crazy.
And a lot of it you can check online, so you can just go online to make sure that you are registered and just confirm
go to
your voting
vote.org.
location.
Vote.org is a good site that I go and double check myself and Corey. So But I know we're getting to the last of the episode here, or the end of the episode. But I know there's a couple other things y'all wanted to hit on real quick.
I just had a couple of little like TV things that are coming up. So when this episode airs this night on the 9th, Corey Feldman, who is a child actor, who was best friends with Corey Haim in the 90s. They starred in a lot of different movies. He's been making a lot of noise over the last 20 years because, both he and the other Corey have both been sexually molested by influencers and haymakers and heads of these production companies in Hollywood, and he's been trying to get the word out, but he hasn't been able to tell his full truth, in part because the movie that he did like 8 years ago, and then the book that he did that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Didn't he have an autobiography?
He did. And but the problem of it is that when you go to a studio who is financing and producing these products, a book or movie or television or whatever, there's an element of insurability, meaning that if you're making certain kinds of claims, the company that is producing it has to have enough insurance so that they can cover the litigation that comes out of it that will eventually happen. Well, in order for people to get through that with a moderate amount of insurance, they end up having to change names or changing some of the circumstances. So that's why you will see inspired by such and such story, or inspired by this, the life and times of this particular person. You see those kinds of claims. So he's never been able to tell like his side of the story of, who's been molesting them. And they're still in Hollywood today. It's kind of like a person that's as big as Harvey Weinstein. Well, on Monday, today, when this drops, he has a documentary that he self-financed and is putting out on the internet for a live streaming of this documentary. He's previewed it with a couple of, like the talk show heads or whatever. But
you have to pay for it?
You have to pay for it. It's $20 to pay for it, but your girl got you covered.
Okay, I was about to say, I'll get the clip notes.
Yeah, Auntie Chardonnay is going to watch it. It comes on at 11 p.m. Eastern time. I think that is 8 p.m. Pacific time. I want to say if my math is correct. I know, but like I said, Auntie Chardonnay got y'all covered, so I'm going to watch it. Now, in this documentary, it's not only his story that he's telling. He actually brought in several other childhood actors from then and now to tell their stories, and they're naming names. Okay. They're saying who did it, how it happened, all that kind of fun stuff. Not fun stuff, excuse me. But all of those details are going to be dropping in this documentary. So, of course, on Tuesday, when everybody wakes up, that's probably going to be one of the top stories. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of shit that's going to happen. But that'll be one of the top stories. But, your girl is going to be watching to find out for sure what tea is being spilt and who these pedophiles really are that have been protected for so very long. Yeah. So that's happening on Monday. And then if you guys get the chance, I know it's a subscription service, and your girl, Auntie Chardonnay, is a TV head. So I'll be watching all the shows. But Apple Plus has a show. It's a 6-part docuseries called Visible, Out on television. And
all I heard was visible colon.
See?
I'm sorry, that was a serious moment, but that cracked me up.
But it's an amazing documentary. And what it does, each part chronicles almost like a different decade, going from early history of television and showing roles and how LGBTQ plus people are portrayed in the earliest days of television all the way up to current day. And it does a really great job of humanizing and sharing these stories of, how we've been erased, how we've been limited, how we've been really just mistreated, but then also how we've, been able to have a seat at the table, be able to create our own stories, be able to share authentic stories about our experience, and, the trailblazers that got us there. So if you have the opportunity,
like, is it going to be like
it's
Black people,
very
Puerto
diverse.
Rican, and
yes,
okay. Lesbian,
there's
transgender.
there's Asian folks in there. They have Margaret Cho talking about several things. There's the guy who's I forget what his name, but it's the Asian guy that was on to How to Get Away with Murder. He's talking about a couple things from an Asian perspective. Tons of Latino people, tons of non-binary is part of the dialogue. Bisexuality is part of the dialogue. Of course, trans and gay and Black. And there is they acknowledge that the main story that you've seen on television has been about white gay men. And they're very upfront about that mischaracterization of the totality of our community. So really, really good. I watched it all like within 2 days. I would highly recommend it.
Okay. That's good to hear. And I was about to bring up something. I forget that quick. Yeah. Oh, I know what I was about to say. So March Madness is about to be, I think Selection Sunday occurred yesterday at this point. So I think what we're going to do to have a little fun is each of your aunties are going to fill out a bracket, even Auntie Chardonnay over there, even though she's probably going to be judging on the uniforms or something. But we're all going to fill out a bracket, and we're going to set up a league for all the community members that want to participate in this. So we'll have more details. Follow us on social media if you haven't. MinoriTea Report on IG, MT Report on Twitter, and MinoriTea Report on Facebook. So we'll put all the details out there for you to join the league and everything. Have a little, friendly fun and things like that. And whoever wins the league will have some kind of prize for you. Some maybe like MinoriTea Report swag for you. So be on the lookout for that for sure. If you like college basketball, and even if you don't, it's something fun to do. It's free,
I might need some help, y'all. So let me know if you got some tips and whatnot.
We ain't giving you no pointers. We trying to win, bitch. It's like keep the pointers to yourself.
Y'all see how they treat me.
And then we'll probably be watching Indian Wells as well. Indian Wells tennis tournament is starting, so
yes,
I'm sure we'll be having some updates on that throughout the week. And anything else? Anything else on your heart, Jerrell?
Nah, she good.
Okay, now, boo. All right, well, community, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, bye, y'all. Have a good week.